Welcome to our deep dive today.
Yeah.
We're going to be looking at Elder Michael T. Ringwood's April 2022 talk, For God So Loved Us.
Okay.
And I love this talk.
We do.
And it's all about the idea that God has a personalized plan for each of us.
Yeah, it's not just some generic plan, right? It's
Yeah.
like he knows us individually
Exact.
and has something specific in mind for each of us.
It's so cool because it's not just this abstract idea.
Right.
He actually uses some really great stories
Yeah.
and examples to make it feel very real and relatable.
He does a great job of bringing it down to earth.
Totally.
Like it's not this far off concept.
Yeah.
It's something that applies to us
Yeah.
right here and now.
Okay, so he starts off with one of the most well-known verses in Scripture, John 3:1-6:17.
Oh, yeah. Everyone knows that one.
Right. For God so loved the world.
Right.
But what I think is interesting is that he points out that this love
Yeah.
isn't just this generic love, it results in a personalized plan.
Exactly. And he shares this story about how he was at a sporting event.
Okay.
And he kept seeing signs everywhere with John 3.16 on them.
Really?
And it made him think more deeply about what that verse really meant.
I mean, that's got to make you think, right?
It does.
Like, what if that's how God speaks to us sometimes?
Oh, totally.
Just these little nudges in unexpected places?
Yeah, like he's trying to get our attention and tell us something.
Exactly. So to really illustrate how personal God's plan is, he takes us through a bunch of examples from the Scriptures.
I love that part.
Me too.
He brings up all these different people.
Yeah.
Like Moses, who God called my son.
Right.
And then you've got Abraham,
Oh, yeah.
chosen for his mission before he was even born.
That's crazy.
It is.
And then there's Esther, who's put in this very specific position to save her people.
Such a powerful story.
And even that servant girl
Oh, yeah.
who helped Naaman find healing.
She played a key role, too.
Right. God works through individuals.
He does.
In these very specific ways. And it reminded me of that story with Zacchaeus.
Oh, yeah, the one who climbed the trees just to see Jesus.
It's such a cool image, right? Like, here's this guy who probably felt so lost.
Probably hidden in the crowd.
But Jesus saw him.
Yeah, and he called him out by name.
I mean, imagine how that must have felt.
Incredible.
To be seen and acknowledged like that.
That personal touch.
Right.
It's like God saying, I know you, I see you.
Even when we feel lost,
Yeah.
he knows exactly where we are.
That's comforting.
It is.
Makes you think about times you felt that way.
Yeah, those moments where you felt like God was really aware of you.
He was right there with you.
Exactly. Okay, so let's shift gears a bit.
Okay.
Elder Ringwood also spends some time talking about the story of Joseph and his brothers.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
He focuses specifically on Judah's role.
Uh-huh.
And I think it's really powerful how he connects it to Christ's sacrifice.
Yeah, it's amazing how those stories parallel each other.
Right? Like when Judah promised his father
Jacob.
that he would ensure Benjamin's safety.
Right.
It's like a mirror of the commitment Christ made to bring us all back to God.
Judah was willing to do anything for his brother.
And Christ did everything for us.
That's powerful.
It is. It makes you think about the people in your own life.
Yeah.
Who are your Benjamins?
The ones you would do anything for.
Yeah, those people you feel responsible for.
Like you want to make sure they're okay.
Maybe it's a child.
Or friend.
A sibling.
Maybe someone you mentor.
Right. And Elder Ringwood connects this to President Nelson's call to gather Israel.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just this big global effort. It's also about our individual roles in helping others find their way back to God.
Like we each have a part to play.
Exactly. And he shares this really touching story about a friend who was in the hospital
Oh, yeah.
and received a message from his deceased father.
I love that story.
It really emphasizes how deeply we care for each other.
And that desire to guide loved ones.
Even beyond this life.
Even after we're gone.
It's like we're all connected
right
in
there.
this journey back to God.
And we can help each other along the way.
Okay, so there's this other phrase
Yeah.
that Elder Ringwood uses in his talk.
Okay.
It's from 2 Kings 4.
Okay.
It fell on a day.
It fell on a day. And at first glance, it might seem like a simple phrase.
Right.
But he uses it to show how seemingly insignificant events can actually be part of God's larger plan.
Like those little things that happen
Right.
that end up having a huge impact.
It's like those times where you look back and think,
yeah,
wow, if that one little thing hadn't happened.
my life would be completely different.
Exactly. And he tells this really compelling story
Oh, yeah.
about a man named Paul.
Tell me about it.
Okay, so Paul had a pretty difficult childhood.
Okay.
And kind of stumbled his way into the church.
Really?
In fact, he actually went to the wrong church at first.
Oh, no.
Yeah, he went to the one with all the drums and the amens. Oh, wow.
You can just picture him walking in there.
Totally out of place.
But here's the thing.
Yeah.
Even in that wrong place, Paul ended up bearing his testimony.
Wow, that's amazing.
And he had no idea at the time,
Yeah.
but he actually impacted the life of someone who was searching for truth.
It's like a divine appointment.
Right.
Being in the right place at the right time.
Even if you don't know it.
It's incredible how God works.
It is. And Paul's story reminds us that even when we make mistakes, God can use those experiences for good.
You can turn things around.
Just like the master weaver, bringing all those threads together.
Into a beautiful tapestry.
Exactly. And sometimes we get so focused on the big picture that we miss those small, seemingly insignificant moments.
Those little details.
But Paul's story shows us that those moments matter.
They do?
They can have a huge impact.
On our lives and the lives of others.
And I think it reinforces the idea that even when we don't see how everything fits together, we can still trust that God is guiding us.
That he has a plan.
Which brings us to another important point.
Okay.
Trusting in God's plan.
Yeah.
Even when we don't understand it.
That can be hard.
It can be.
Especially when life throws you curveballs.
Right. But Elder Ringwood gives us a great example from the scriptures. Nephi.
Nephi's a good one.
He didn't always understand why things were happening the way they were.
But he never doubted God's love.
Exactly. And that's the key takeaway here.
It is.
Even when we don't have all the answers, we can still have that same confidence that Nephi had.
That God loves us.
And that he has a plan for us.
A plan that's for our good.
It's like this foundation we can always stand on.
Solid rock.
Even when things around us feel shaky, we can find peace in knowing that God is in control.
It's a beautiful thing.
It really is.
It gives you hope.
Totally.
Even in the midst of uncertainty.
Exactly. And I think that's something we all need a little more of these days.
I agree.
Just that reminder that we're not alone. God is with us
always,
every step of the way.
Guiding us and loving us.
And I think that's a beautiful place to end for today.
It is.
We'll come back next time and dive into some more of the amazing insights from Elder Ringwood's talk.
Sounds good.
See you then. So we were talking about this idea that God has a plan.
Yeah.
And it's not just for like the world in general, it's for each of us as individuals.
Like personal.
Yeah, and it's like he's got this roadmap for each of our lives.
And it's not always clear where the road's going.
But we can trust that he knows.
That he knows the way.
Exactly. And that brings us back to the Benjamins.
Oh, yeah.
Remember we were talking about those?
The people we were responsible for.
Yeah, the ones we want to help find their way back to God.
And it's interesting because it's not just about like taking care of them in a physical sense.
Right.
It's also about helping them spiritually.
Yeah, and I think that's where that story...
About the friend in the hospital.
Really because it shows that even beyond this life, we still care about each other.
We do.
And we still want to help each other.
I think it's beautiful. That connection that we have.
And I think it all ties back to this idea of gathering Israel.
Which can feel kind of
big and overwhelming.
Like, where do you even start?
Right. But I think what Elder Ringwood is trying to show us is that it's also very personal.
It's about the people right in front of us.
Exactly. Like, who are the people in your life that need your help?
That need a little extra love.
Yeah, or encouragement.
Maybe just a listening ear.
And maybe that's how we gather Israel.
Just one person at a time.
Right. Like it's these little acts of service that can make a big difference.
And you know what else I was thinking about?
What's that?
That phrase, it fell on a day.
Oh, yeah.
What if those moments are actually like God's way of giving us opportunities?
To gather Israel.
Yeah, like maybe those random encounters are actually divinely orchestrated.
So it's like God saying,
hey, pay attention.
This is your chance.
To make a difference.
And I love that story about Paul.
Me too.
Because he went to the wrong church.
Yeah. But even there...
he was able to share his testimony.
And touch someone's life.
It wasn't part of his plan.
But it was part of God's plan.
And it makes you wonder how many other Benjamins are out there.
Just waiting for us.
Yeah, like maybe we need to be more open.
To those unexpected encounters.
And more willing to step outside our comfort zones.
Because you never know
who you
might meet.
Or how you might be able to help.
And I think that ties back to...
What?
to trusting in God's plan.
Even when we don't understand it.
Yeah, like sometimes the path he has for us
isn't the one we expect.
But it's always the one that leads to the most growth.
And the greatest joy.
And sometimes it's the path that leads us to our Benjamins.
I love that.
It's like he's guiding us to the people we're meant to help.
It's like we're all part of this big puzzle.
And each of us has a unique piece.
And even though we might not see
the whole picture,
God does.
He's the master puzzle maker.
And he knows exactly where each piece goes.
And he's patiently putting it all together.
And I think that's a really comforting thought.
It is.
Like even when things feel chaotic,
we
can trust that God is in control.
And that he has a plan.
And that he loves us.
And that he's working everything together for our good.
You know, this whole conversation has been so inspiring.
It has.
It makes me want to be more aware.
Of what?
Of those "it fell on a day" moments.
Yeah.
And more intentional about looking for my Benjamins.
And more willing to trust that even when I don't understand,
God has a plan.
And it's a good one.
And it's all going to work out.
In the end.
It's like we're all on this amazing adventure.
With God as our guide.
And even though we don't know what's around the next bend,
we can trust
that he's got us.
He does.
And that he's leading us to something incredible.
And that's a pretty exciting thought.
It is.
Makes you want to keep going.
Yeah.
Even when things get tough.
Because we know it's all part of the journey.
And that the destination is worth it.
I think that's a perfect place to pause for now.
Yeah, we've covered a lot of ground.
We have, but there's still so much more to explore.
I know. I can't wait to dive back in.
Me too. We'll pick up right where we left off next time.
Okay, sounds good.
Wow. It really does feel like we've been given this whole new way to think about our lives.
Yeah, like a new lens to see things through.
Exactly. And all these ideas about personalized plans and Benjamins.
Right, and those "it fell on a day" moments.
They're really sticking with me.
Me too.
I know I'm going to be thinking about this all week.
Yeah, it's a lot to process.
But in a good way.
Definitely.
Like it makes you want to go back.
Yeah.
And look for those connections in your own life.
Totally. Like maybe even write down some thoughts.
Oh, that's a good idea.
About who your Benjamins are.
Yeah.
Or times you felt that it fell on a day kind of thing.
We're definitely going to do that.
It helps to make it more real.
It does. And speaking of making it real, remember that last thought Elder Ringwood leaves us with?
Oh, yeah. The one about
what our unique role might be.
In helping others return to God.
That one really hit me.
Me too.
It's like he's saying, okay, you've seen the big picture now. What are you going to do about it?
It's a call to action.
It is.
It's not just about knowing this stuff. Yeah. It's about doing something with it.
Exactly. And it makes me want to step up.
Yeah.
And be more aware. And really look for those opportunities.
Make a difference.
To be a part of God's plan.
And to help others be a part of it too.
That's what it's all about, isn't it?
It is.
This deep dive wasn't just about learning some new ideas.
Right.
It was about inspiring us to act.
To see ourselves as participants.
Yeah, not just observers.
In this incredible plan.
And to embrace those moments, big or small.
Where we can help someone else feel God's love.
And find their way back to him.
That's the best part.
It is. It's been such a privilege unpacking all of this with you.
It has been fun.
And I hope everyone listening has felt that same sense of hope and purpose.
That we have.
Elder Ringwood's message is so powerful.
It really is.
And I think this deep dive has really helped.
To bring it to life.
In a new way.
For sure.
So to everyone listening, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for being here.
Remember, you are loved, you are guided, and you have a unique purpose to fulfill.
Go out there.
Yeah.
Find your Benjamins.
Be open to those "it fell on a day" moments.
And
in the personalized plan God has for you.
Until next time.
Keep diving deep.